Hello and welcome to Health Talk. I'm Dr. Manny. On TV, he played the strong and immortal character Hercules. But behind the scenes, actor Kevin Sorbo is struggling with a health crisis that almost took his life. He's written a new book about this experience called True Strength, My Journey from Hercules to Mere Mortal. And he's here today to talk about that journey. Great book, by the way. I mean, I saw the endorsement. You got Joe Pesci, of course, took you to town with the endorsement. But, I mean, really, you know, Wayne Gretzky, a lot of very wonderful people. Ray Romano, your book basically tells the story about you having what?
I had an aneurysm, my left subclavicle, that eventually exploded.
So here you are, you know, muscle guy, exercising, take care of yourself, always did the right thing. And this aneurysm in your shoulder, what it did, it kind of broke up or it created small clots?
I shot the series in New Zealand, and I was just finishing season 5 in the show. I was heading back to Los Angeles to do some publicity on a movie I'd shot the year before. But I had pain for like 3 or 4 weeks. I had these 3 fingers were getting very cold. I was getting numbing and just these sharp pains and it was just driving me nuts. And I called my doctor in LA and I asked him, I normally don't call him to bug him about things because I did bumps and bruises, played sports, football, and I was doing my stunts and working out. I just said, okay, maybe there's something I did on the set. He said, have you smashed your funny bone lately? You think maybe you smashed your ulnar nerve. Maybe just that can create the same thing. So I took it at that, but when I got back to the States, to LA, it was bugging me more. I went to see him. He found a lump in my shoulder. He said, this kind of bothers me. He says, I want to get a biopsy on that. At the time, he didn't tell me this. He thought it was cancer, but he didn't want me to know. He just wanted to get a biopsy done on it. I went to the gym to work out. Couldn't even pick up 10 pounds. I was just so much pain. I said, this is ridiculous. So I went to see my chiropractor down the road in Santa Monica. I laid on the table. I hear a voice as loud as I'm saying now, do not let him crack your neck. I hear that voice. He hasn't cracked my neck in 8 years. I've been going this guy off and on for 8 years.
Right.
I look at him, I said, what did you say? He said, I didn't say anything. I closed my eyes again. Do not let him crack your neck. I hear that voice again. So this is your inner body speaking to you. It was somebody telling me something, trying to tap me in the shoulder and say, don't let him do it. He cracks my neck. I said, why'd you do that? It felt like you needed it. I get in my car. I leave. Within a couple minutes, there's a pop in the back of my head, and also my vision is just all over the place. I felt like my head was inside an aquarium looking through the water, looking through the glass, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I called my, at the time, fiancée, who's now my wife. I said, I don't know, I'm not feeling too good. Something weird happened. She said, well, I'll come get you. I said, I'll drive. I drove that way back to her place.
So you didn't even go to the hospital?
No, I drove there 10 miles. I get there. I had another episode that all of a sudden my balance went. My balance was just shot. And I knew that I'd suffered strokes, but I was in total denial of it. I did not want to admit to it. I knew I wasn't well.
Why would you? How could you relate? I mean, you're very young, even.
I was in my 30s.
Then. I mean, come on, that's the least thing that you kind of.
I mean, I know that they told me what they look for. Usually,
I know, but I mean, that's
I don't fit.
You were not. You were not smoker. You didn't have hypertension.
Nope. No high blood pressure.
You weren't taking any
overweight.
of that. So what? I mean, why think about that?
But 2 more hit, and the 4th one that dissolved was my speech. My speech went. She froze, I froze.
So when you had all these symptoms that you were feeling, so you did not work them up. I mean, you didn't go to the hospital. You didn't get a CAT scan or
didn't go to the hospital until the speech went, and then we realized.
So you waited until the last one was the most dangerous one.
I was living in denial, complete denial.
So what happened? Your whole lifestyle kind of changed?
Well, it changed. I mean, as soon as I got to the hospital, they went through an angio. They started pumping. This arm was turning blue. I mean, by then, hundreds and hundreds of clots.
So you still have the aneurysm here?
Yeah. So they went through an angio, and they pumped in Coumadin and heparin, and they busted it all up. I was in ICU for probably 8 days. Obviously, I had to cancel. The movie was about to start. I went through 3 months of rehabilitation, basically learned to walk again.
Did you have any motor deficiencies? I mean,
big time.
Imbalances?
Big time.
And things like that?
I constantly felt like I was falling backwards. It wouldn't stop. It doesn't matter what position my body was in. I felt like I was falling backwards. And I had this humming generator sound in the back of the base of my skull that drove me nuts. It went on for 24 hours a day for at least the first year of the strokes. I couldn't get rid of the sound.
When did you start feeling better?
There are pockets in that first year, but the second year, I started making some leaps and bounds. I'd go a month without feeling dizzy, but then it would come back again for 2 months, and there were moments, and I knew that I was going to get better. But I not only went from Western medicine, I went to Eastern medicine. I started doing acupuncture. I started doing yoga. I started doing all kinds of things, meditation, because I started suffering panic anxiety attacks as well.
Yeah, I was going to get to that question. I mean, a lot of folks that have a stroke, especially men or women like you that are young and athletic and have a career in front of them, when they have this kind of big scare, you know, they get depressed, they get anxiety, they have, you know, lack of sleep. Did you go through all of that?
I went through all of that.
Yeah.
When I closed my eyes, there were lightning strikes in my, I couldn't, it was amazing. It's like my whole brain was trying to rewire itself. It wasn't, it was a long process. When used to work 14-hour days, lift 2 hours a day. When I went back to work months later, I dropped at least 15 pounds of muscle. I walked on the set, my whole crew's looking at me like, oh my God, he really is sick. Right. I went to like 1 or 2 hours a day for the first, you know, half a year. I was just slowly building up to even get to 8 or 9 hours a day.
Why do you think that you kept your strokes a secret? Were you afraid of the problem itself, or were you afraid of, you know, that other people may take it in a different light and compromise your career? And
both
like
of those
that?
things, no question. Both those things.
Yeah.
I was, you know, the studio kept it quiet. They talked about the aneurysm. You can find footage from '97 when it happened of them saying he's in the hospital at Cedars-Sinai. He's got an aneurysm. He's going to be fine. So the studio even covered it up because I was, you know, I was an investment to him. They still had 2 more years in the show. We were the most watched TV show in the world. There was money for them. I didn't want people to know because a lot of things: ego, fear that my career was over. I didn't know what kind of recovery process I was going to have, so I fought it.
Now, did you have to do any kind of body doubles or anything like that?
They did a lot of body doubles. I mean, people. I used to do all my own stunts and everything.
I couldn't even turn my. I throwing people away and you know, hacking away with swords.
It was tough on the male ego. I got to tell you, it was a bad ride. And I think the reason the book was written was to let people know that if it can happen to me, it can happen to you, and I'm sure you know people it's happened to, and hopefully be an inspiration to people to move on.
So the book, and by the way, everybody should get this book because you know, as Joe Pesci says here, you know, you'll be a different person after you read this book. What are you doing now? Because you look terrific.
Well, I'm saying, but you know, I finished the last 2 years of the series.
Now my wife, you know, my wife is oh my God, Kevin is coming. You know, he's very hot. So what are you working on now?
Well, I obviously after Hercules, I did 5 years in another show called Andromeda. It's a Gene Roddenberry show, and since then I've done about 30 movies. I got about 6 of them that are done in the can right now. The other ones have already been on TV or whatever. 3 of those will be on cable. The other 3 will be in the theaters. I just finished the one down in Texas. I start another one next month in Nevada, and I start another one.
So you're back
in January.
You're back to your old ways, Kevin.
Well,
you're back to your old ways, Kevin. You're burning the candle in 3 ends.
No. I've learned to relax a little bit. I've learned to relax a little bit. I take life a little slower. Trust me.
All right. Well, listen. Thank you for coming. Thank you for this terrific book. Everybody should get it. It's very, very important. So please get it. Just came out. It's available probably everywhere.
Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble. Go to kevinsorbo.net. You can find all kinds of information on there about where to get it and what's going on with my career.
All right. Terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.